In a world obsessed with speed, most of us wake up already behind on deadlines, behind on messages, behind on expectations, especially our own. Life today feels like a race with no finish line, and the faster we move, the more we lose our sense of being here, in this moment. But inside a quiet Japanese workshop, something very different is happening. The air is still. The tools are silent. And the single craftsman prepares to begin his work, not with urgency, but with reverence. Japanese woodworkers have a relationship with time that feels almost foreign to the modern mind. They don't treat the clock as a threat. They don't treat tasks as something to get out of the way. Instead, they move slowly, intentionally, as if every motion has its own breath. And here is the paradox. They are not slow because they lack efficiency. They are not slow because tradition forces them. They are slow because rushing would break the invisible thread that connects their hands, their attention, and the wood itself. Where we rush to finish, they slow down to experience. Where we chase minutes, they honor them. And if we allow it, their pace can teach us something our modern world rarely gives us, a way back to ourselves. When a Japanese craftsperson begins shaping a piece of wood, they give it their full attention, complete, undivided, almost sacred. There is no multitasking, no half-focused mind drifting between 100 tabs and thoughts. Just the blade, the grain, the hands, and the breath. Their pace isn't an accident, it's an understanding. Attention has a rhythm, and rushing destroys it. Our modern world teaches us that faster is better, but in reality, speed scatters the mind. Thoughts jump, focus splits, anxiety grows, mistakes multiply. We start to live at the surface of everything, touching everything, but experiencing nothing. Japanese woodworkers, on the other hand, sink into the moment. They are not focused because they are naturally calm. They are calm because they choose focus. Because with full attention, the mind stops running and starts listening. And something happens when you give one task your whole presence. You begin to feel a quiet inside you, a clarity, a returning. It is not mystical. It is not exotic. It is simply what happens when the mind is allowed to inhabit one moment at a time. In the West, we often treat rushing as a sign of ambition. We celebrate the person who works faster, responds instantly, multitasks aggressively. But Japanese woodworkers know that moving too quickly breaks more than the surface of the wood. It breaks the harmony of the work itself. A rushed cut splinters. A hurried joint misaligns. A blade used too aggressively tears instead of gliding. And the same is true in life. When we hurry through conversations, we mishear. When we hurry through decisions, we misjudge. When we hurry through days, we miss them entirely. Woodworking makes this truth visible. Speed doesn't create quality, presence does. Japanese craftsmen often say, "The wood will not forgive impatience." But neither will your mind, or your relationships, or your sense of purpose. Rushing makes us fragmented, impatient, reactive. It removes the softness from our responses and the clarity from our thoughts. Japanese woodworkers don't avoid speed because they fear mistakes. They avoid rushing because they respect the process. And they know that once your internal rhythm breaks, everything around you begins to follow. There is a quiet strength in choosing not to rush. A strength that has nothing to do with slowness and everything to do with confidence. When a Japanese woodworker takes their time, they're not wasting minutes. They're cultivating depth. Depth of understanding, depth of connection, depth of presence. Working slowly does not mean working weakly. It means trusting that quality emerges from intention, not haste. It means trusting that time is a partner, not a threat. As they plane a board, they listen to the sound of the blade, a sound that tells them everything. Too fast, and it becomes harsh. Too slow, and it hesitates. Just right, and it sings. Life also sings when we move in the right rhythm. Slowness is not the opposite of productivity. It is the foundation of meaningful work. It's the pace where your thoughts stop chasing each other, where your breath deepens, where your actions match your values instead of your fears. And the more you slow down with intention, the more you realize that peace was never something far away. It was simply drowned out by noise. Japanese woodworkers never rush because they know that haste disconnects. It disconnects the hand from the tool, the mind from the breath, the moment from the meaning. And when disconnection becomes a habit, life begins to feel like a blur. If you've been living in that blur, here is your reminder. You don't need a workshop to slow down. You don't need cedar boards or hand planes. You just need one choice. To let one moment be enough. To give one task your full presence. To let your pace reflect your values, not your pressure. Woodworking teaches us something unexpectedly human. When we stop rushing, we stop losing ourselves. If this philosophy resonates with you, I invite you to subscribe to WoodZen and walk with me through a life shaped with more intention, more calm, and more meaning.